Week I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada, preaching here, and one of my good friends is preaching with me, Pastor Randy Ralston. I enjoy Brother Ralston. What a faithful man. And he and I we preached together last night. I enjoyed his sermon, and good to see him again, of course, be here in the Las Vegas area and try to help the church that I'm preaching in. You pray for me as we have some teaching sessions this morning, and then another service tonight. Then tomorrow morning I fly back home, get home to be at the home church for Wednesday night service. Looking forward to that. Always good to be with the home folk. I love being home. I'll be honest with you. I like being home more than I like being out. And I look forward to being home with my people as we continue the series on the beginnings, on study of Genesis. And I promise you, you'll enjoy it this Wednesday night. You be there if you can, and we would certainly appreciate that. Well, today, let's talk about avoiding your evil spirit. In 1 Samuel chapter 19, verses 8 through 9, the scripture says, and there was war again. And David went out and fought with the Philistines and slew them with a great slaughter, and they fled from him. And the evil spirit from the Lord was upon Saul, as he sat in his house with his javelin in his hand, and David played with his hand. David's playing the harp. But see, Saul, that evil spirit came on him. And Saul was no different than any of us today, in that he had weaknesses that constantly pulled him down. But sadly, he never learned. He never seemed to overcome the one evil in his life that eventually killed him. Saul became envious of David after the battle with Goliath because he felt that David was more popular than he was, and he's probably right. And it bothered him that the people felt David did more for Israel than he had done. Not only was Saul envious of David, but he knew that God had pulled his blessing from his life and had given it to David. Now, we read that the evil spirit, when we read that the spirit came on Saul, and when this happened, it often caused him to attempt to kill David each time. Now, what Saul did not do was he never learned what triggered this evil spirit so that he could avoid it. Saul's trigger that led him to have an evil spirit toward David was war. And so every time there was a war, it triggered that evil spirit in Saul's life that he constantly wanted to kill David and throw him back. And then Saul would get right, and then he'd go to war again and it'd throw him back. He never learned what was the trigger to his besetting sin. Had he learned that, he could have overcome it. Now, my friend, I'm saying this to you. Everyone has a weakness, and you've got to learn that. I want you to learn some things just this morning that I can teach you about how you can overcome those weaknesses. First, everyone has a weakness, and it doesn't matter how long you have been saved, you have some weakness that pulls you down. Now, admit it. You'd be wise to learn what your weakness is, and likely you probably already know it. Now, covering your eyes towards your weakness is not going to make it go away. I can cover my eyes all day long, but that weakness is still going to be there. You can say, I don't have it, but that doesn't change that it's there. Now, you'll be quicker to overcome a weakness by admitting it than you will by trying to avoid it. And if you admit it, then you're on your way to overcoming that which is trying to destroy you. So you've got to admit just understand, I've got a weakness. Second, you must learn what triggers that sin. The biggest mistake many believers make is they never learn what causes their weakness to become strong. Thus, they are overcome by their weakness time and time again. Many believers live a defeated life because they never learn that trigger that pulls them back into sin. Then they become despondent. Then they pull away from God, their pastor, and the church. And they get deeper into that sin. Now, you'd be wise to learn what triggers that sin so that you can overcome it. And because by learning the trigger that causes your weakness, it becomes a weapon so that you can use that knowledge to defeat your evil spirit. Third, avoid what triggers your sin until you become stronger. Often, that which triggers our sin is often a person, whether we like it or not. People pull us down. Now, if that is the case, you must avoid that person until you have overcome your evil spirit. Now, I know this sounds cruel. This sounds pretty to some, oh, that's crazy. No, if a person is pulling you back into sin, it'd be better to avoid them and live a victorious Christian life than to run with them and live a defeated life of sin until sin finally completely destroys your whole life. I would much rather separate for a short time so I can live the victorious Christian life and maybe draw that person out because I'm doing right than to run with them and constantly fall. So if it's a person, you got to avoid them. Sometimes somebody's trigger is a situation. Others, it's when they're alone. Sometimes it's when you pass a place that puts your mind to thinking about your sin. For some, it's just a time frame that certain time every year or whatever it is. You fall back at a certain time. You just kind of go down at a certain time every year. I've seen that in many a person. Now, whatever triggers that sin, you've got to avoid it, my friend. You got to learn what to do in those times so that you can avoid the sin so that it doesn't become stronger. Fourth, do good until you overcome your besetting sin. Good is more powerful than evil. So the way to overcome evil, you do good. Get busy serving the Lord. Stop worrying about what about me overcome this? You get busy serving the Lord, doing the opposite of your evil. And this is what you're going to find. You're going to find that good will push out evil. This is what I've always learned. When people start dropping out of church and start dropping out of responsibilities, they start drawing back until, boom, they're back in their sin. The reason why is because they stopped doing good. You've got to do good to overcome the evil that's trying to destroy your life. And until you continue to do the good, my friend, I'm telling you right now, then you're gonna continue to fall back. So fill your life with good. Stay busy doing good, and you're gonna find you can live a victorious Christian life. This is a secret to overcoming the evil in your life. I want to apologize for the quality of the video. It's just the lighting in this room here where I'm at, but I hope that this was a help to you. Now let's remember today, be good to everyone. Everyone's having a tough time. Have a great day.